Hello, government class. It's Monday, March 30th. Had to think about what month it was again. Um, so, for today's lecture, we're going to be talking about how bills move into committees once they've been proposed on the floor of the House of Representatives. Uh, the book makes the point that the Constitution doesn't actually say anything about committees, but that committees have become an essential part of how the House of Representatives works, and actually the Senate as well. Um, so the function of a committee, and a committee is just a smaller group of people. So you've got the whole House of Representatives, and if you want to get a group of people from the House of Representatives to talk about a particular topic, say foreign affairs or executive oversight or taxation or the military, then though you're going to take a smaller group from the overall House of Representatives, people who have a particular interest in this given topic, and you're going to put them on what's called a standing committee. Standing committee might be, say, in the House, you have the Armed Services Committee. That's going to be a standing committee, in other words, a committee that never goes away. It's always there, of people, members of the House, who are particularly interested in issues related to the armed services. A lot of times these people are going to be veterans, although they don't have to be. Um, so if you have a bill, maybe that has to do with the armed services in some way, say it's a bill that would increase soldier pay or something like that, then that bill is going to be referred to the the House Armed Services Committee, because that would be the committee overseeing the issue from that bill. Okay. So the standing committees act as sieves, and a sieve, if you think about it, you've ever been to the beach or someplace like that, a sieve is going to be like a dish that has like webbing or kind of a crosshatched mesh in the bottom of it. And if you think about being at the beach, you can put sand in it and kind of slosh it around with water, and it'll sieve out or keep in the sieve larger things than the grains of sand. This is what committees do with bills. So with my notes, and I'm not using the frame routine format for the notes here, but my notes begin with bills in committee. Under my first main heading, bills go to committee after introduction. Okay, so bill to raise pay for active duty soldiers is introduced by Representative so-and-so on the floor of the House. It is then sent to the House Armed Services Committee for consideration. Okay. Roman numeral 1 here, committees act as sieves. In other words, they're going to sieve out or remove most bills that come to this committee. Most bills do not pass beyond the committee in order to be presented to the full House. If they did, the full House would never have time to do anything, just because of the sheer number of bills that are introduced in a legislative session. So, number 2 here, Roman numeral 2, committees strain out or reject most bills. Most bills die in committee, what's called pigeonholing. Okay, as the book puts it, most of the thousands of bills introduced in each session of Congress are pigeonholed. That is, they are buried. They die in committee. They are simply put away, never to be acted upon. Okay, and just again, the sheer number of bills, a lot of them are really silly or dumb or just submitted to make a point about something. There was a bill a while back in, I think it was the Alabama legislature. Alabama is one of the states that has tried to restrict abortion rights lately, and a member of the Alabama legislature who supports abortion rights submitted a bill that would require, I believe it was the sterilization of all men, something like that. I forget now exactly what the bill was. But this member submitted this bill to the Alabama legislature, never intending that it would be passed, but in order to make a larger point, kind of a public relations PR point about the importance, as she saw it, of abortion rights. So a lot of times bills get submitted to the House of Representatives or to the Senate that no one intends to pass, so those get sieved out or strained out in committees. Okay, so most bills die in committees. It's called pigeonholing or being pigeonholed. Members, however, may use what's called a discharge petition in order to get a bill out of a pigeonhole to be voted on by the full House. Okay. As with so many things with our legislative branch, this is fairly complicated. As the book puts it, a discharge petition enables members to force a bill that has remained in committee for 30 days onto the floor, in other words, in front of the whole House of Representatives, for consideration. Any member may file a discharge motion. If that motion is signed by a majority of House members, which is 218, the committee has 7 days to report the bill. If it does not, any member who signed the motion may, on the second and fourth Mondays of each month, move that the bill be discharged from the committee that is sent to the floor. If the motion carries, the rules require the House to consider the bill at once. This maneuver is not often tried, and it seldom succeeds. Again, pretty complicated, but basically it's a way of saying, okay, someone proposes a bill to the House of Representatives that is very much in earnest to raise, let's say, active duty soldier pay to X dollars per hour or per month or whatever. It goes to the Armed Services Committee, who for some reason decides to pigeonhole it. They just ignore it. Oh, okay, here's a bill. We're going to put it over here in this drawer and never do anything with it. A member of the full House, though, who's not on the committee, can file a discharge petition in order to force the House Armed Services Committee to send that bill to the full House floor. And if they don't, if the discharge petition actually works, which it doesn't often, then the full House can take it up anyway, whether the committee that's in charge of the bill has sent it on to the full House or not. Again, this is a lot, and it's complicated for good reasons, but it's a pain in the neck. Anyway, committee at work. This is B. This is what happens when bills actually get sent to the committee. Once a bill reaches a committee, the chairman almost always refers it to one of several subcommittees. For an important or controversial measure, a committee, or most often one of its subcommittees, holds public hearings. Interested parties, including the representatives of interest groups, public officials, and others, are invited to testify at these information-gathering sessions. If necessary, a committee can issue a subpoena forcing a witness to testify. We saw this with the House impeachment trial back in January, right? So the House, these were the House Intelligence and Judiciary committees that were taking up the issues of the impeachment charges against President Trump. They issued a number of subpoenas, and a number of the people that they subpoenaed to come testify did in fact come testify. We watched a lot of that. But then at the same time, a number of people who were subpoenaed to come testify refused to, which is called contempt of Congress and really should have resulted in a number of arrests and prosecutions, but didn't for whatever reason. Okay. Occasionally, a subcommittee will make a trip to locations affected by a measure. Thus, several members of the House Foreign Affairs Committee's subcommittee on the Western Hemisphere. Okay, this is so we've got the full House, we've got a smaller group, and then a smaller group inside that. Full House, House Foreign Affairs Committee, House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee for the Western Hemisphere. Okay, smaller group of a smaller group. May visit Rio de Janeiro for the first-hand look at Brazil's successful efforts to reduce that country's dependence on foreign oil. Okay, this is called a junket when members of Congress go on a trip overseas to different locations so that they can see for themselves firsthand what's going on. These trips are made at public expense, and members of Congress are sometimes criticized for taking them. Some of these junkets deserve criticism, but an on-the-spot investigation often proves to be among the best ways a committee can inform itself. Okay, so committee chairperson refers the bill to a subcommittee. This is Roman numeral 1 here under B. And guys, remember, you can always pause the video if you need to get the notes taken down. Roman numeral 2, subcommittees hold public hearings. Actually, they can hold private hearings too, but usually they're public. And members sometimes make trips to gather information about a bill. Is Roman numeral 3. Okay. So committee actions, there are 5 things that a committee can do with a bill once it's been submitted to that committee. First thing it can do is to report the bill favorably. This is called a do-pass recommendation, where the bill is going to go to the full House with a committee recommendation that the full House vote to approve the bill. The committee can also, again, refuse to report the bill. This is the pigeonholing that we talked about. So Roman numeral 2, refuse to report equals pigeonholing. And that's where the committee is just going to say, nice bill. Let's just put it in this drawer over here. We're not going to do anything with it. Okay, the House can report the bill in an amended form or make changes to the bill, then send it to the full House. Okay, so report bill with amendments. So then let's go back to our example of raising active duty pay. Honestly, I have no idea what active duty service members make right now, but let's just say that it's $30,000 a year. Let's say that a bill is submitted to raise active duty service member pay to $35,000 a year. Goes to the subcommittee. The subcommittee likes the bill, but wants to actually increase the amount of active duty service member pay to $40,000 a year. So they would make that amendment to the bill and send the bill to the full House with the amount being $40,000 instead of $35,000. So that would be reporting a bill in amended form to the full House. Okay. They can also report a bill to the full House with an unfavorable recommendation. This isn't done very often. However, a committee feels sometimes that the full House should have a chance to consider a bill or does not want to take the responsibility for killing it. That's kind of a CYA type thing where they're playing politics with it. We don't like this bill, but we don't want to be seen as the ones who are killing this bill. So we're going to make everyone in the full House take a vote on it. So, everyone is standing with us, and it's not just these, 15 or 16 members of the committee who are killing it. And then finally, they can report a committee bill, which is to report a bill that has been so completely rewritten by committee that it's essentially a different bill. Okay, so this is going to be different from amending a bill because of the amount of change that has happened with the bill itself. Okay, all right, so that's going to be the extent of the notes and lecture for today's class. If you have questions about the Government for Ixlandia project, feel free to email me. I'll have more details coming on that this afternoon. Okay, talk to you later.